Hello, everyone. We are now starting our next presentation. From Castheon and 6K, we have Youping Gao, founder and president of Castheon, and Sunil Badwe, chief metallurgist from 6K, on the topic of digital alloy powder for additive manufacturing, a case study on high entropy alloy HEA development. Dr. Gao founded Castheon Inc. to advise the state of an art in additive manufacturing and industrialization. He is a fellow of the Laser Institute of America and the additive manufacturing consultant to LL&L. In his previous position for over 21 years, he worked assiduously on building Rocketdyne's advanced manufacturing capabilities, from large complex structure brazing, HIP brazing, joining thermal processing, advanced laser material processing, powder metrology, to additive manufacturing that have offered market differentiation factors over competitions by ensuring robust high yield and driving down product costs through technologies that condenses manufacturing process steps or disruptively new processes. As a fellow and manufacturing discipline chief, he led the AM development and maturation effort to become the first in the nation achieve NASA certification for production of additive manufacturing of mission critical components for manned spaceflight. Sunil is a metallurgist, with diverse experience in various metals and processes, including additive manufacturing. His experience includes metal casting, powder metallurgy, processing, and alloy development for additive manufacturing. He holds a patent for a new alloy, duplex stainless steel powder for sintering applications. Sunil has a BS and MS in metallurgy from the University of Pune, India, and a PhD in material science from the University of Nevada, Reno.
Hi.
All right, I will let you take it over.
Hello. Thank you for the nice introduction. And Sunil, you have those charts, right?
So yeah, I'm presenting it, so you can go ahead.
All right, sounds great. And thank you for Link 3D for hosting this. And hi everyone. And too bad the AMAC was canceled. And we're really grateful for Jennifer and Linkin 3D to step up and to offer this the webinars for the online meeting in the case of the Corona. Let's see. Oh, okay. Put a reinforcement on the back. So this is a collaborative research work between 6K and Castheon. So everybody knows in the, sorry, my hair sticking up. Everybody knows the high entropy alloy in the material world is the next frontier. And being able to produce high entropy alloy, adjusting composition on demand has been a big plus for the alloy development. And because of this, the alloy composition is not a simple, 2 or 3 component based, and the composition range adjustment is just become very wide. And in order to fully take advantage of this, most people choose to do a computational studies to refine the chemistries and then to producing alloy. And a certain alloy is just very expensive to produce. And so here's a case and how 6K can produce this alloy on demand and work with us on the producing powders. Okay, Sunil, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Chief Metallurgist for 6K, and I'm working on alloy development. Basically, the 6K is a powder manufacturing company. So this is basically based on a microwave plasma. microwave plasma technology, where the microwave plasma is a little different than the existing other plasma technologies in that the temperature of plasma is about 6,000 K, which is a little less than the other technologies. That means we have more control on the temperature, what we can control here. But at the same time, then the temperature is enough to sphericize metals, metal alloys, or ceramics within vast range of material properties. This is closed system. This is similar to atomizing technologies, so there is no contamination. The plasma is in our system we have like 3 to 4 inches diameter plasma and up to 6 feet long plume. That means we have more control on the retention time in plasma, and that will depend on the different types of materials what we can sterilize. The one big plus point in our plasma system is we have about 99% microwave coupling. That means very little loss, like about 1% loss of energy, and that means it's a low operating cost system. And we also have another sister company in just outside of Pittsburgh, which is specialized in metal reclamation, and especially titanium metal reclamation. So basically, they take the shop scrap and melt it down and produce a product which is used as additive in aluminum melting companies for titanium addition. Well, and we can leverage their processing technologies from scrap to milling and controlling the particle size, and use that as a feedstock for our UNIMAS system, UNIMAS spheroidizing system, to produce spherical powders. So it's a great combination of their expertise and our expertise to produce premium powders in spherical form. And our system is very versatile. It can use different types of feedstock materials, right from turnings, shop turnings, low-cost angular powders made from different technologies. We can use used powders from additive manufacturing machines, which become more less spherical, or which can contain more satellite particles, and which is no longer useful. And in most of the cases, it increases oxygen. In one of the presentations from Carpenter, we have seen that how increased oxygen content affects the powder quality. In that case, it was titanium 6-4. But we have demonstrated that we can use higher oxygen powder and reduce in our plasma, and to get the carbon to the acceptable levels. We can also use rejected parts. We can turn it down and we can then mill it and make a feedstock. And our feedstock is basically a mill powder that you can see at the bottom picture or bottom micrograph, same morphology picture. So we can use very rough, irregular powder, and we can convert that into perfectly spherical powders. Then you can see all these different types of powders that we have produced and we have demonstrated. It's from stainless steel in Inconel to high temperature rhenium, and of course high entropy alloys, which is topic of our today's discussions. So all these powders, which can be used for not only for additive manufacturing, but also they are interesting to metal injection molding and hot isostatic processing. So and everybody knows that there are different types of powder producing technologies right now, especially for when additive manufacturing is emerging. So everybody is making powders with different technologies, and main technologies are gas atomizing and plasma atomizing. So basically both are atomizing technologies, and both are based on melting technology. So in atomizing, first gas atomizing, you have to melt metal first and then atomize. In plasma atomizing, you have to make a wire, melt the wire, and to make the wire, you have to melt the alloy first. So basically, then these have the limitation of new alloys or new alloy development limitation on the quantity, how much quantity you can make, because for the smaller development you need smaller quantities, and with this existing technologies you have to make a big heat, or you have to buy a complete heat of gas atomizing or complete roll of wire for plasma atomizing. Again, these technologies are based on melt technologies, so you can only make the alloys or modify alloys which are possible by melting. So in case of high entropy alloys, for example, if you have like different types of elements in equal quantities, and you have different or vast difference in melting points, it's difficult or it's impossible to melt and make those alloys by melting. So that's where 6K Unimelt technology comes in picture. We can produce alloys with non-melting technologies. So we don't melt elements together to make the alloys. Instead, well, we can combine mechanical alloying technology, where you can use different elemental powders, make the alloy with mechanical alloying. And the result of mechanical alloying, of course, is the powder with flaky and a very irregular shape with very, very low AD, which is not useful for any commercial processing technologies that we know right now. And then we can use that powder and use the 6K Unimelt technology and produce a perfectly spherical dense powder, which can be used for various technologies like additive manufacturing, MEM, or hot isostatic processing. So, and then for the next slides, then Dr. Gao can take you through some of the advantages of additive manufacturing. Oh. Dr. Gao? I think we lost him. Okay, so I will continue the presentation. So the next several slides, he has explained that how additive manufacturing is important, or how additive manufacturing has advantages over the wrought materials. It's basically revolving around the microstructures what we can obtain, and then how additive manufacturing technology can have different types of microstructure based on the printing parameters, or using different types of controls, or using different types of heat treatments. And he has shown some of his case studies. One of that is like 230, where he has shown that it is basically the comparison of wrought and additive manufacturing, additive manufacture 230, where he has shown the difference in high temperature tensile properties of alloy 230, which is clearly showing that it's the additive manufacture 230 has much better high temperature properties than wrought 230. And this is again unique alloy, niobium C103, which is extremely hard to print. It's basically high refractory alloy with for mostly hypersonic applications, and he is able to produce with the right combination of parameters and heat treatments. This alloy we can basically print it successfully. But this stage is a stage for our discussion of high entropy alloys, because this is an extreme case, extreme high refractory alloy for use for high temperature applications or hypersonic applications, where we are pushing the limits of these materials. But at the same time, then our demand for the requirements is growing higher and higher. So there is a need for different types of materials. This is a very expensive material. We can push it to its limits, but again, we need something more performing materials. And one of the alloys, one of the family of alloys is high entropy alloys. It is in research stage. for last decade, but it has shown some very interesting properties. Actually, interesting properties in the sense that it's a combination of properties. Normally, in conventional alloys, there is a one principal element, and there are other elements. They are like alloying elements. They are in small quantities. As against in high entropy alloys, there are at least 5 or more elements which are present in equiatomic percentages. That means they are all in the same composition range, and then that makes it high entropy, because if it is, you'll see in subsequent slides that the high entropy alloys is considered as 1.5, more than 1.5 R entropy alloys. So more entropy makes the free energy more negative. That becomes the alloy becomes more stable. So these high entropy alloys are more ordered than the conventional alloys, and these are more stable than conventional alloys. Are metastable, and they're very sensitive to heat, and that's why we use heat treatment to get different properties. The other advantage of the high entropy alloys is it has a sluggish diffusion, and that's mostly because it's a single phase alloy. Most of the time, it's a solid solution alloy, and it has very equiatomic composition of different alloys, of different, basically 5 or more alloys. So diffusion becomes very sluggish over the temperature range, and that can be an advantage, that it can be stable. The properties can be stable over the temperature range. Generally, we get in conventional alloys, we get the room temperature properties and high temperature properties are vast difference, and then that becomes the stability issue over the temperature range. And again, on the studies, it is observed that there are a combination of properties such as, like in this picture, this picture has shown that the combination of properties of irradiation strengths. Normally, in conventional alloys, if you can see, take martensitic steels or magnetic steels, these are very high strength steels, but the ductility is very low. So it is like a trade-off of property. You want high strength ductility, but if you see in the orange, there are a region of high entropy alloys where it is like you can have a combination of high strength and high elongation in the same alloy. So this has sparked very much interest in aerospace and automotive industry, that we can use this kind of, this is one example of a combination of properties, but there are different combinations like high specific strength and high fracture toughness, different kinds of things based on the different alloys. And so far in studies, there are vast range of alloys have been studied with different combinations.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Sunil, just letting you know that Youping is joining over the phone right now. So Youping.
Oh, okay. Youping is back. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Youping.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I mean, some of the slides of your slides I have covered, but whatever I understand, I have covered that. But people may have questions, and you can answer.
Thank you so much.
Right?
Sorry, I lost the audio connection.
But you are able to see the presentation, right?
I don't know which chart you're on.
Okay, I'm on slide 25 now.
Okay, let's see if I can.
Okay, so we have discussed this high entropy alloys and how it's made,
Right.
but there is a major roadblock in high entropy alloys in commercialization. There is a lot of research done in the last 10 years, but we have not seen that high entropy or any high entropy alloys in application or in functional application so far. The basic reason for that is difficulty or impossibility of manufacturing certain high entropy alloys. Most of the useful high entropy alloys, based on the research, they have at least one component which is very low melting point component or low melting point element than the other elements, and that makes it little difficult, or at some points it's impossible to make from melt-based technologies like arc melting. It is probably possible in the lab scale where we can heat that very fast and cool it very fast, but commercially or on the scale applications, it's very difficult to make such alloys. So only way to make those alloys in that in on scale, that's a mechanical alloying. And mechanical alloying, as we all know, that the product of mechanical alloying is flaky particles with very low AD, which can only be used in spark plasma sintering, which is lab process. It is not commercial process. You cannot use that for commercial applications. For powders, the commercial applications are metal injection molding, isostatic processing, and additive manufacturing, which is the newest technology, but it is commercializing now. And all these technologies use, or they need, a spherical powder. So the way right now, the way to make high entropy alloys is mechanical alloying, but the need for commercial systems is spherical powders. So that's where 6K can help. So we can take mechanical alloy powder and we can spherulize powder without loss of any elements, so without even loss of the structure of the material itself. And actually, Youping has one case study on high entropy alloys. Youping want to explain it? It's slide number 26.
Right, and so for this reactive refractory-based high entropy alloy, and making of this alloy is extremely difficult. And borrowing chart from HEA, especially metals, Noah Phillips presented this at TMS 2020. So literally, is this material is so reactive, and making little bit material takes really long time, and it's very costly. So you can see from the chart, from the left to the right, and a little bit of pellet being made, and then through the hot and cold rolling process, you get at the bottom end that little piece of strip, so you can perform the test. And this alloy is called Tinkoff alloy. So it's developed computational calculator developed by UES and Air Force. And so after this alloy is being made, and you can see the performance in comparison to the traditional niobium 303. And at a temperature where we need this high temperature performance, so we found this high entropy alloy not performing well. So the optimization process requires a lot of alloy element adjustment. And this can only be possible with the digital alloy through the powder metallurgical process. Because otherwise, if you want to go through the traditional alloy making process, it's so expensive, it's almost impossible.
So can I move Youping to the next slide?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where 6K solutions comes in picture. So we with mechanical alloying, we can virtually take any kind of alloy, or we can make any kind of alloy with different compositions, because mechanical alloying is a mechanical process or physical alloying process, which doesn't involve melting in it. So we can make different kinds of alloy. For example, we have demonstrated one of the alloys. We have taken nickel, chromium, cobalt, iron, and copper alloy, where we have chosen copper because it has a different, very low melting temperature than the highest melting temperature chromium. In that it's like a 900 degrees C difference in melting temperature. So if we want to melt this kind of alloy, so we will lose some of the alloying elements while we are trying to melt other ones. And we chose this alloy based on the literature, which is one of the most studied alloy with different kinds of technologies, including mechanical alloying and arc melting in lab furnace. And it has shown, from the lab test, it has shown that it has a high strength based on high hardness, high strength and high ductility. That's what they have indirectly concluded from the testings what they have done on the lab scale. So we have taken this alloy and then tried to make in spherical form. So we have done mechanical alloying, and at every stage, then we are tracking this alloying with XRD plot of that, and that's how we have limited or decided the milling time for mechanical alloying. And then we have used our Unimesh system to spherulize this powder, and also we did that. So here you can see how we started with milled powder morphology to a perfectly spherical morphology of high entropy alloy. This particular high entropy alloy, where we have a composition of 25% iron, 17% chromium, 17% cobalt, 17% nickel, and 16% copper. This is in wet percentage. And this alloy we have made in spherical powder, and then we have, with the help of Castheon, we have printed that. Youping, you want to comment something on printing on this alloy?
Well, printing high entropy alloy is always challenging. If the room temperature strength is so high, and so a lot of traditional printing configurations are not really applied to this alloy. And also certification is a challenging for this material as well.
Okay, so
I think it's really promising, and now we know how to adjust the chemistry on demand. I think that gave us a tool to further accelerate the high entropy alloy development.
That's right, because this technology, like we have done this high entropy alloys, but we can also use this technology to modify the existing alloys very easily. So using the existing powder and addition of different elemental powders to adjust the composition, we can easily do that. So this is where we are right now in this process. So we are still working on this high entropy alloy process, where we want to print the test bus, actual test bus, and test it for mechanical testing. So, but as far as this printing of this tube, what Castheon designed and printed, as far as we know, that this is the first additive manufactured high entropy alloy tube or solid, because we have not seen any spherical powder for high entropy alloy yet. So the continuing work is this, printing the test bus and testing it. This might be different. The results might be different than what the studies has shown, because those are done by spark plasma sintering or very small size particle specimens. But and then additive manufacturing is a little different process than the conventional processes. So we hope to present those kinds of results in some future conference when we have it. So this is where we are right now, but we are very confident that we can produce high entropy alloys. This is just one example of alloy, but we can coordinate, or we can partner with someone who already has some composition in their mind. So we have a process to do that. If you have a composition, we can jointly develop it. So this is what all we have right now. If you have questions, we are open to answer, and you can contact Dr. Youping or me directly for any questions.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I think we have time to answer one question since we are pretty much out of time.
Okay.
So the one
So,
most amount of votes says, hi Sunil, what are the disadvantages of your powder manufacturing technology? What's critical to achieve reproducible high quality alloy powders?
so as far as the disadvantages, we are still looking for disadvantages in our for our system. But for the next part of your question, what was the next question? Next part of question? Can you repeat the question? I don't see it here.
I think it just got deleted. But
Was what's critical to achieve reproducible high quality alloy powders?
Okay, so for our system, what's critical is to select the scrap what we use. That's very critical for producing high quality alloys. As far as the sphericity is concerned, if you have seen the micrograph of high entropy alloys, this is all powders look like when it comes out of our system. They are perfectly spherical, and they have very low porosity. There is absolutely no porosity within the powder particle. But if the critical thing, as I said, critical thing is to select the scrap source and select the scrap chemistry carefully. That's the critical thing.
well, thank you so much, Sunil and Youping, for participating today. Very interesting presentation. We will now jump into the next presentation from UL. We have Paul Bates. So, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.